I thought every set was perfect for the film.
Every set piece, every time we went to do something, it was just the biggest and the best, and you know, you couldn't believe the money that was being spent on these movies.
To see it all finished was just, I can't believe we did that.
The set designers and those sort of people are so important because there's a real look and the feel that they're going for. And as an actor, you kind of think of the character and the scenes you're in and stuff, but you don't spend all your time the way the director or the other creative people would as far as the look and feel of it. So I didn't know exactly what to expect. And then as we got on all the different sets and things started to kind of get shot, you got a little more feel for it.
It was bigger and bolder, and it was a much more massive scaled Batman. More characters. That was the biggest change, is that you had a lot more villains and good guys. You had Poison Ivy and Bane and Mr. Freeze and Batgirl. There's a lot of new characters and a lot of environments to put them in.
Well, I think they just made it bigger and taller. I think Barbara just made Gotham City bigger and taller, and of course we had new characters with new gimmicks.
Joel very much wanted to open this movie up and to get more outside, get into more crowd sequences, get into a larger, who are the people who live in Gotham? And that is always going to be a challenge, is how do you do Gotham by day? You know what I mean? What does that look like by day? It's such a night city. We created long scopes of streets to try to be able to just open it up to the city, more. It's exciting to be within the city streets of Gotham rather than just be in fabulous big interiors for sequences. So we opened it up much bigger.
The look of it is like the biggest stage in the world, because it's the Batman stages and the sets were just enormous, and it looks like Warner Brothers spent every penny on it that they ever had. But and it looks just really unique and different in every way, and colorful and exciting.
Well, you're in one of the sets right now. You can't really see it, but in here is this, probably the biggest set I've ever seen, biggest built set I've ever seen. It's a couple $1 million, this set. I remember walking in here and they had this giant dinosaur that I'd come sliding down, and it's huge, this big Sinclair dinosaur thing, And I remember looking at it, and I walked in and I said, Jesus, Joel, I'm intimidated. And Joel's like, so am I. I'm intimidated. It's the biggest thing I've ever seen.
Batman and Robin was really the motif of bringing more of a World's Fair proportion, even on a larger scale to it. And to bring in the idea of metals and really kind of almost going back to a sense of Raymond Loewy and the machine age. If you look, you'll notice it's a very metal world, more than Batman Forever. Poison Ivy, the idea came up to do a Turkish bath, which was very fun, to be able to have this dilapidated old Turkish bath that she transforms into her plant lair.
She creates a mini version of what her ultimate plan is, which is basically her own style of Garden of Eden. And she builds one in a abandoned Turkish bathhouse. And it's quite beautiful, the set that they made. She lives in a gigantic orchid throne and has vines and plants that are at her control, growing up all and down the ceilings and everything.
Mr. Freeze has a habitat and has a hangout place, and of course his hangout place is on the deep freeze, and so he can comfortably live there in his hangout place without having to wear this heavy armor.
These sequences with Mr. Freeze's world in Batman and Robin is that you were in ice. Whenever the ice would freeze, it created a very bright situation. So if you froze the museum then became a very bright reflection. And I think that the lending of that one being so bright became all the ice. His world came from such a scientific background, is that we played with everything being in these chromes. Everything worked off the sense of this, he lives within a metal suit. And because of that, his world is within a metal box, so to speak. I loved the different types of ways to play with metal in his world. That was a giant amount of street to really freeze, and the proportion of freezing buildings and doing giant, sculptures. So you had to shoot it first with unfrozen, and then you had to shoot the entire thing frozen, and it was huge. I mean, that was, 2 city blocks, and had everything frozen, and that wasn't done in CGI, that was done real world, so that was pretty wild. We loved the idea of this diaphanous floating, so that this beautiful woman just floating in water, and the hair moving, and this diaphanous outfit kind of, and that he could walk in and speak to her, and because of course his idea was to bring her back to life, and that's the idea of this beautiful cylinder. But again, that it is a difficult thing to make. It was difficult. It was an amazingly difficult feat to make that look good. We had a full prosthetic made of her that we tested endlessly to get hair to move to. It is, something like that takes months to perfect. Months. Just one little sequence. I think designing the weapons for the bad guys too became I think the fight sequences became bigger in this, so they needed to have their world gadgets also, and that became very important to Joel, that there be things that were specifically for that character for these next sequences, so that Mr. Freeze guns and Poison Ivy knives became part of these giant fight sequences. With the Bat gadgets, the challenge is what can we make up that a gadget hasn't done yet, We had stick to the ceiling, we've had a gadget do this, we've had a gadget do that. And then once you come up with something new that a gadget can do, is how to redesign that gadget to be even cooler than the gadget before it.
I've been working for about a year now on Batman's weapons and Robin's weapons. They're all very shiny, polished aluminum. They're actually cast out of aluminum. What I do is I start out with real rough sketches, and I show them to Barbara. She will approve a couple of them, kind of give me a direction to go in. She'll say, I like parts of this one, I like parts of that one. And I'll do refined versions, much like this. Real simple sketch, and once she approves this version, then I'll go ahead and do a mechanical drawing that is either turned over to the effects guys and they build a fully functional prop, or if I have time, then I build them myself sometimes.
Life of this series is that, and hopefully there's 10 more of these, and they just keep playing with something new, or you would just be bored. You wouldn't want to see the same thing over and over again, I think.
It was fun to go to work every day. We were creating our own world, brilliant, imaginative, creative people around.
It's an incredible feeling to think that you designed something, just the proportions of it were mind-boggling. And then to see it finished and lit is just, there's no feeling like it. It is the greatest sense of accomplishment.